Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Okay, so before we start, everything I say in this video is my opinion, mine alone. Please feel free to do your own research and come to your own conclusions. With that being said, I'm just going to dive into this video. Let me just give you a little taster of what is to come in this video.
Boring. I'm sorry if you're mad at me, but why would anyone be mad at her? Sorry. The only reason I am mad at her is because she gets home from hospital and she goes and live streams. I'm so angry right now. After watching that stream that Joanne did for nearly 2.5 hours, in regards to Katie and her son being in hospital. Now, let me just start by saying the title of this video. Is KJ sad fishing? So, I got a question for you all. Do you start off doing YouTube with a heart, and then slowly it gets eaten away inch by inch until you get left with nothing but a shell? Or do you just start out like that anyway? Because that's where this person is, and that's where a lot of the comments I've seen today are. I am beyond disgusted by people. And when I say disgusted, I mean sickly disgusted. I've been trying to calm down for the last hour. Some of the things this woman has said in regards to a sick little boy and whether his mother should be allowed to go on the internet or not, or even take a break. Katie disgusts me. This woman has outdone Katie by far. By a long shot, let me tell you. The disgust I feel right now is through the roof. I'm going to calm myself down. Or I'm going to try to do this video. This woman claims to be a Christian. I see nothing that warrants her being a Christian. I'm now going to get her video up and I'm going to go through it with you. But first I want to say something. Right now we're living in a pandemic. We all know that. There's no denying it. Everyone's getting their injections, everyone's falling down and not getting back up. There is a country now where people are dying in the streets. I imagine when this little boy got sick, his mother and father were weighing up the odds of what was the best thing to do. Risk him by taking him to a hospital where he could catch this, or keep him home and hope for the best. That's what I imagine going through her head. Because that is what would go through my head. As a mother and a grandmother, they are the things that would go through my head. Do I risk the hospitals
or do we stick it out at home and hope for the best? Because both could be equally as dangerous. After everything that I have seen said about Katie today, I am beyond disgusted. Some of the words that have been spoken, both by this woman and the people in the chat. And if you were in the chat, I ain't apologising, because it was vile. Absolutely vile. Let's have a look at a video, shall we? Here we go. I'm going to try my damnedest to stay calm through this. I am cross out the don't and the picture.
Well, hello and welcome. It's Thursday night, I think. I hope you're all well. Well, we've got a lot to talk about today. We always have lots to talk about.
Yes, we certainly do, Joe. Lots to talk about. And no, I'm not feeling okay. I would never ever want my child to fall ill right now. It is the scariest time on earth to end up needing to go to hospital right now. And you think it's a joke. You think it's something to mock and belittle, berate. Oh, and make sure if you're a mummy, don't take a break.
But I specifically want to talk about the fact that KJ came home from hospital with her son and went straight to a live stream, which I thought was pretty tacky. Those of you that were
Not half as tacky as this live stream you're doing. Nowhere near. Even Katie is allowed a break. Any parent is allowed a break.
on yesterday would have heard me say that I was concerned that it was shunt related, and that if it was shunt related, it was quite serious. Well, it turned out it was shunt related. And I cannot believe they kept that poor boy in pain.
Oh, ain't you on your high horse? I told you so. Didn't I? Wow. You're supposed to be a Christian? If you're Christian, I'm staying well away from the church you go to, honey.
For 3 days before getting it looked at. However, here we are. So before we get into that, so hello everybody. I wanted to show you an update. Now, you would have seen that I posted a video about Ben Roberts-Smith.
Okay, so this little bit here is not about Katie. It's about some other crap that she's talking about on her high horse up there. So I'm going to skip this bit.
she was at the hospital. Look, I understand you want to take your mind off stuff as well. I understand that. Hospitals are horrible.
Oh, I went too far.
And so how are we going? Yes, Keijo only thinks about her stuff and not the health of her son. I mean, she did manic tweeting today as well while she was at the hospital. Look, I understand you want to take your mind off stuff as well. I understand that. Hospitals are horrible. And you know, I've been guilty of sitting at hospitals, and I don't generally sit there and tweet or Facebook. I generally just sit and read stuff. But yeah.
Oh, well, ain't you perfect? Ain't you perfect? Do you have any idea what the stress would be of going to a hospital right now would be? On a mother with a child who has so many problems. I don't even like Katie. What you were doing is bad. Really bad.
Now, I spoke to Harrison about his shunt because I was a little bit interested. Now, he told me he had what's called a VP shunt. So this is the most common shunt that they use here. And what it does, this one has 2 tubes. So the pressure builds up into the brain.
And does this shunt resemble Vaughn's in any way? Just curious. Because if it doesn't, then you'd be left with no idea.
And so it allows it to drain the pressure. Now, what can happen, and this is a kid's house, so this is for, so it talks about when you need to call a doctor for your child with a shunt. So this is what is recommended. Has swelling, redness or fluid leak from where the shunt went in, has a headache or stiff neck, has a fever of 100 points.
Joanne, I am going to assume that you have completely lost your brain, completely forgotten about the pandemic going on in our country, in our world, not even our country. It's happening here in the UK, it's happening there in Australia, it's happening in China, Thailand, New York City have got it. Literally everywhere has got it. No exceptions. Not even one. Not even for Katie.
Or Fahrenheit or 38 degrees Celsius. Has nausea or vomiting, is confused, very sleepy or especially cranky, has a change in behaviour, coordination of balance, has a change in vision, eye movements, or can't move the eyes upward, is an infant and has a bulging soft spot, has pain around the VP shunt or its tubing, has a seizure. Now, Harrison generally gets a headache, he generally has a fever, and he generally vomits. Now, if you know Harrison, he's very, very active. And if he starts to go sleepy, if he starts to have these 4, there's no, we do not part, his mum does not pass go, she goes straight to the hospital with him. So,
and fingers crossed he hasn't had to be rushed to hospital during this pandemic. I really hope he hasn't. Because I would be just as upset if he'd had to be rushed to the emergency department and we were still in the middle of this too. And if someone was talking about his mum the way you're talking about Vaughn's.
So they're the signs that they say to look for. So I was really surprised. Now, one thing that she did say yesterday was that they were expecting a nurse, and I can't help but think maybe the nurse took one look at him and said, he's got to go to the hospital. Hello, Tamara.
Maybe you're right. But remember what we're dealing with, Joe. Remember what the entire planet is dealing with, Joe. It is not a little cold. You're not going to sneeze and get better tomorrow. There's a chance that if you catch it, you ain't coming out of it. And we should know that by now. It's been on the news enough. And I imagine it's on the news in Australia as much as it is in the UK. So, where is your sympathy? Where is your compassion? As a Christian woman, you're generally attacking her for trying to do what is best for her son.
Just a fan always. Hello, Sheena. And tweet out with, oh. Hello, Osbel. Headache with a shunt, red flag. Yeah. Are there warning signs lead up to some of these? No, sometimes they just hit. They might have a little bit of a headache. So if he complains of a headache, they just watch. But if it's a headache and one of those other things, it's a red flag. Sometimes it does come out of the blue. Sometimes it's something that lasts a couple of days. I mean, if he gets his head, like if he has a head knock or something, or he bumps his head or anything, then you're on high alert to watch. But I know with Harrison, if he goes quiet and he starts vomiting, you've got to watch him. And look, it's not matter, it's then if there's a headache, there's a few things. Oh, thank you, Michelle Belly. I thought I would wear contacts tonight and.
So someone you know has a shunt, and I'm assuming you're aware of the current conditions. It's not possible that you could be that ignorant. Actually, I know you know about the current conditions because you've actually spoken about it. But you want to put her on blast for loading up her Twitter or her Instagram, for taking her head out of one thing into another for 10 minutes. You're offended by someone taking a break from a really intense situation.
See, give the eyes a bit of a see how we go. But I've still got the glasses mark here, so. She has a fragile child. If that was me in the situation, doctor would be calling her. Well, it was interesting when she said she rang the neurosurgeon and he said to come in and they thought it was a shunt malfunction, because I wondered last night, because I just know that, the normal methods for headache and stuff don't work. And so that's when you start thinking about shunt malfunction. But anyway, so let's start off with Twitter. I did get...
Because you're perfect, Joe, aren't you? And you will always do the perfect thing at the perfect time. And no one else is possibly able to do it. Because you're so perfect.
She did do her live on Without a Crystal Ball, and I think she said, I think she got something in $60 worth of super chats. No need to wait for any nurse to come to my house. She know all these things, been living with a child for 8 years. And what was really interesting as well is that they thought Harrison doesn't have one that automatically adjusts just pressure, but V does, and he has one that automatically adjusts, and so they had to do it with a magnet. But I think it was something magnetic that moved it out of place, and they thought it was the iPad. And so what happens when he gets home? He's given what? His iPad.
The main word there, Joe, was think. Think. Not sure. Think. Do you understand what think means?
I don't know. Like, I just don't understand. So this is...
How dare you? How dare you, woman? Show a picture of this poorly little boy whose mother you're tearing to shreds. The internet is forever. I feel sick. How dare you? How dare you?
So this was this morning. Well, just got off the phone with the neurosurgeon team. They were worried he's having a shunt malfunction because he's not responding to his mom.
I gotta give it to you, Joe. You're a good student. You learned well, didn't you? Because in this video, you've gone full KJ. Full. Didn't miss a trick. Totting up at super chats. Insulting her mother in. Even going after her for taking breaks. Full KJ. Full. You'd make a brilliant student, I have to say. Well, you clearly have been. Because you've literally morphed into her. And not one of them see her. Wow.
Grain meds, waiting to hear back, but I'm pretty sure they're going to have us come to the hospital in to take images and rule out shunt before anything else. If it's a shunt malfunction, that means he has to have brain surgery. Usually it does. Usually it does mean brain surgery.
And you are really enjoying this stream, aren't you, Joe?
This is Instagram at the moment. Wait, she was tweeting all... Yes, she was, Ginger Lee. She was. Yeah, we talked about it last night, didn't we? See, and I was right. And this is the other thing. Do you remember how we looked at Instagram and she showed the picture of how Jill Dillard was wearing a T-shirt that she had just purchased? And we said she'd probably be wearing that. She wore that today as well. Her post.
Full KJ. I don't need to say anything else. First class student. Learned every lesson down to a T. But then you morphed into her.
A child makes me uncomfortable, but that's right, yes. The thing I have a problem with, among other things, is that you're sleeping on the couch with a blanket full of dog. Yes, that's true. Yeah, that is true. He's carefully looked. Yeah. Deep breath. Yeah. Well, guess what? I went and got triple shot iced coffee for tonight. Poor baby. Yeah. So that was the first one this morning. Then she went, update on a story I covered 2 years ago involving a daycare worker at a church in Greensboro, NC. Alison Saunders was charged with SA toddlers at the church daycare taking photos of the abuse and sending them to images to a man in Great Britain. In November, she pled guilty.
I don't think any of this is necessary. It's just what Katie have posted on her Instagram, I believe, or a Twitter, one or the other. But we have a new KJ. Give her a round of applause, everyone. Five-star job. 5-star. Outstanding. So I'm going to skip this part because there's nothing really there to see, just her berating Katie. A mother who is probably worrying out of her mind right now while she's at the hospital, trying not to think of what could happen to her son by being in the hospital. But hey, that's not on Jo's list of concerns. She's a bad mother because she went on Instagram.
Then she said, off to the hospital we go. You know, it's posting a photo of the... I'm glad I'm done with my exam. It's the weekend here. Yeah, wine ready. Yeah. She's like, yeah, I don't agree with that either.
You don't agree with her posting pictures of her own child? Is he your child? Because that would put a spanner in the works, wouldn't it? If we found out now that he wasn't even Katie's child. He belongs to the person who's shredding his mother to piss.
I think the head was under his arm. I don't think he was headless. She had a fight with her nurse over V's screen time. Yep. Get need for attention, sympathy, seriously. The good news is my COVID weight gain hasn't affected my jeans fitting. You have this, Katie. You are a great mum. I'm praying for you and your son, sending good vibes. I am feeling the rage building. I actually feel like crying. This is awful, says Ginger Lee. And Shell Belly says she is not real. Chapter 3 of Jeremy and Ginger's book is about life in the public eye. This is so
I cannot actually believe that these people are sitting here watching you berate a woman whose child is sick during a pandemic and egging you on to go harder, to pick another chunk out of her. And I don't even like Katie, for God's sake, as I keep reminding you. But this crosses a line.
Jim, Bob and Michelle allowed strangers, fans, literally to come to their home and spend the night. Boundaries. One stole Ginger's diary. She was horrified, then chalked it up to slight discomfort she had to go through to get God's word out, and that God gave her hope through this. How about Mum and Dad not letting strangers inside their home and allowing them to spend the night? We're not done yet, guys. We've still got, I think that's the leg. All right. Can no one else get flashbacks from the NICU or the PICU when you hear beeps or pumps, or is it just me?
The sound.
Actually, yeah, I do. My little boy was 12 weeks premature. And I've had nightmares about that sound. That beeping still gives me nightmares today, 20 plus years later.
I swear I get PST from Dee. She's talking about the Douglas Wallet. Yes, she is talking about the Douglas Wallet in the hospital. There's been a lot of that mentioned. A nurse is going to probably tell her to get off the dirty stuff. Hopefully. It's just... She sounds all giddy and happy, says Wind Whispers. I'm very upset with her exploiting him for attention. What is wrong with her, says Pia. Is that...
How is she exploiting her sick child for attention? Her child is sick right now, and the only people getting attention out of it is you lot.
Yeah, that's his monitors. Shut up, KJ. Talk about how bad you feel for your son, but stop trying to make it all about you. Now, can you imagine the sight? Her kidding.
Is Katie not allowed to be really stressed out right now? Because I would be. Wouldn't you be going at her if she wasn't stressed out right now? Why is she so calm? Why is she so relaxed? Why is she so okay with everything that's happening?
Suffering, she's tapping her foot, taking selfies in the corner of the room. Yeah. So then we've got, this is the look of a tired mama. My goodness, the past 48 hours have been brutal. After countless tests, scans and x-rays, we have our answer. It's never easy figuring out what is causing his headaches because he has so many neurological issues. My son's programmable shunt in his brain move settings.
She looks absolutely exhausted. I'm sorry, but she does. She looks like... I feel after not sleeping for days and being worried out of my mind. The lengths that some people will go to. You might want to wind those arms in a bit, Joe. You reach in.
This shunt is programmed via magnet, meaning something magnetic pulled the shunt out and dropped it in a non-existent setting. It landed in the middle of two settings. When the valve lands between the settings, neurosurgery said the valve is completely open, meaning CSF is flowing freely with nothing being held in for reserve. His brain is losing too much fluid and making his brain dehydrate, causing low pressure inside, making him very sick, which explains why his meds weren't working. I did say this last night. My deepest thanks to Major...
Get off your high horse. Give the woman a break, for God's sake. And you call yourself a Christian woman.
Amazing staff at the Children's Hospital, his neurosurgery team for figuring out what was going on, fixing the issue and hopefully letting us out soon. Hydrocephalus is a bee of an illness. Shunts are finicky, they break in nerve function and their settings can move. I'm glad we have the shunt because the shunt allows him to live, but the lifelong battle with the shunt is the pain I wish no one, especially the pain the person with hydrocephalus goes through. The debilitating headaches that are nothing like I've ever seen. Well, you're not experiencing them. If you have hydrocephalus or have a loved one who...
Wow. Catty. No, she's not experiencing them, but she's seeing her little boy going through them.
I see you, I feel you, I'm tired with you. It's a tough disease. I'm grateful modern science gives our loved ones a way to live. I just wish there was a cure. How is it fixed using a magnet? Same. This is the possible outcome. When it's just the shunt setting, no surgery needed. When it gets clogged, that surgery is needed. That video shows everything she says she will not do. Exactly. And be a mother for your son who's suffering. Hello, Trace. Haven't watched much. Yes, well, her son.
She is being a mother to a child. She is at the hospital with her son. The fact that she takes a mind break from what's going on in reality to look on the internet should never be used against her. Ever. And if Katie was doing this stream, I would be saying the exact same things to her, just like I did in the wedding that she tore apart. But Joanne, you try to make out you're a better person than she is. And this is how you speak about her? You act like you're all godly and such a much better person than she is. Yet you hear doing what she does. Literally doing what she does. And you're okay with that. You are okay with that.
Had to go to hospital. I can't imagine it, but she's doing it. Yeah. Yes, a picture of herself with Sofan always. About getting off social media and being able to talk to your family, your husband. KJ, it's been so open about her dislike for religion, and so she would never ask for prayer. She doesn't believe in it, and frankly, to be honest with you, she's been so vile to people. I understand. It is like KJ sad fishing, all about me, me, me. She's all about those donations, badges, super stickers from the cross. As I said, she got about $6 in her live stream. On that picture, you can see 2 red dots on her upper lip. Can you? Oh, yeah, you can too.
You are so angry that she got money in her live chat. Why? Please tell me why. The fact that she's taken 5 minutes to herself. That angers you so badly. As I've said numerous times, we are in the middle of a pandemic. She's had to take her son to hospital. The worst place you'd ever want to be right now. How many news reports, Joe, have you seen of people going into hospital and not coming out? I'm asking you this directly.
Can you imagine being the child's doctor dealing with that idiot? She will be teaching him, says Busy Bee. Just going to park myself in the corner. Steam coming out of my ears. I can't believe he had to suffer for 3 days though before something was done. Just turning out the cheek. She's too much. She's been rude and nasty to people, and so many people have been nice to her, put up with so much prayer. Person that comes to my mind. I wonder how Todd feels about her, especially their child's. This is the kind of stuff you tell a trusted member or family. Look, she could be really big. Again, it's a lot of people don't know about it, and there is a way to advocate for it and a way not to advocate for it. And this is how you don't advocate for it. KJ doesn't need to go off social media. She needs to make sure when she's on, she spreads the correct message. Correct, Peter.
I literally cannot do any more of this video. because the shit coming out of your mouth is vile, disgusting. I'm going to take you straight to the end part. The last part I want to show of this video. Right. I wanted to make sure this bit was in there, since I put a little taster at the beginning of this part. I cannot believe how vile you have to be to say stuff like this.
She's home from hospital and she goes and lies. Okay.
I'm very confused by the whole seeking sister wife. So anyways, this live stream isn't meant to be very exciting. I'm sorry if it isn't.
Damn, sorry about that.
Boring. I'm sorry if you're mad at me, but
Right, sorry, I'm... Okay, well, apologies, there was no way I could go through the old 2.5 hours of her ripping apart a mother with a sick child. Because that is exactly what we were looking at. And if you think that is okay, then you're where the problem lays. We want Katie to do better. We've been shouting for Katie to do better. How many people? How many people have been shouting, do better, Katie. Do better, Katie. Be better, Katie. Yet, Joanne sat here for 2.5 hours berating her. Mum shaming her for taking a break. And it's just not right. It's wrong. It is so wrong. How anyone can speak about a mother who is going through hell. As a mother, I would have been going through hell. As a grandmother, I would have been going through hell. If I could have made it so that my child didn't have to go to hospital right now, it wouldn't have happened. Katie clearly did everything to try and not go to the hospital with the current situation. But Joe took this as an opportunity to drag her through the mud. Forward, backwards, sideways, and every which way but loose. And that is okay. Some of the comments in that live stream were disgusting. Some even worse than what Joe was saying. And you have all been involved in telling Katie she should do better, she should be better. But no one of you have done it. No one of you. How ironic is that? We have a new Katie in the making. Actually, I think she's probably better than Katie. Or do I mean worse? Because all the stuff she said is disgusting. And I literally cannot speak about her anymore tonight. I am done. I am out of here. Thank you for watching, everyone. Please like, share and subscribe. And I shall see you all in the next video, hopefully.